Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining this webinar. So, as Michelle said in today's webinar, I'll be giving you guys a walkthrough of the Frappe Learning app. Before we begin, let me just share my screen. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Nói tiếng Anh hả? Đang nói tiếng Anh hả anh hay là nói tiếng Ấn?
So, I have this short presentation prepared that I would like to share with you before I begin. All right. So this webinar would help you set up your own learning instance using the Frappe Learning app. And before we get into it, there are two major functionalities that Frappe Learning app provides. The first is online courses. If you want a learning system where you want to create and share online courses, Frappe Learning helps you do that. You can create online courses and then share it with your target audience, and you can have any type of content that you want in these learning courses. The second is batches. Batches are nothing but when you want to group a set of students together to conduct training sessions either in person or online, and then you want to monitor their progress together. That's when you can use batches. All right. So in this webinar, there are other minor features that Frappe Learning provides, but the focus of this webinar would only be on courses and batches. Before we begin creating our own course, I would like to bring your focus to the four roles that comes along with the Frappe Learning app. The first that any learning system would need is a student, and the equivalent role for a student is LMS student in the app. The second is admin. Admins are the person who are responsible for the entire operations of the system, and the role that you have for this person is called as moderator. The third is the course instructor, a person who creates and manages these online courses, and the role that you give to them is course creator. And the fourth is an evaluator, who is a person responsible for handling the batches, and you give them the role of batch evaluator. Let's proceed further. So, in this course, we will be seeing how to create a course by ourselves from scratch. And before we get into that, this is the structure that the course in Frappe Learning follows. There is a course. Each course has chapters. You can have as many chapters as you want. And then there are lessons inside chapters. Chapters are used to group these lessons together that are similar in nature, and the main content of your learning system would reside in the lessons. So, this is the structure that we will be following today for creating our very first course. Let's jump right into the demo. Yep. So here in this window, I have already created a website on Frappe Cloud. Frappe Cloud is nothing but our own hosting platform. With Frappe Cloud, it gets very easy to create and manage Frappe application. Deployment is just as simple as button clicks, and I was able to get this site ready in less than a minute. And I've already installed my application here and completed the setup wizard. That's all I've done. The rest all I'm going to do in front of you. So we will start by creating our very first course on this platform. And so consider that I'm a part of the learning and management team, learning development team, and we were about to create a course together. And so I sat with the team and I created out this course. And now I have to, it's my responsibility to upload this course on the learning system so that others can, I can share it with my target audience. So to do that, first of all, the user that I'm logged in with is a moderator of the system. I have the role of the moderator, course creator, and batch evaluator. And so because I have all these roles, I get to see this button called as new course. To create a new course, I click on the button, and mhm, I think Zoom is preventing my clicks. Just a minute. Mm, okay, working now. Alright, so when I click on that button, this form opens up for me, and this is the form that I have to fill in order to get my first course ready. The first field is the title of the course. I have the title of the course here with me. I am going to make a course on JavaScript today. So the title is 5 important JavaScript concepts for beginners. You can have your title as descriptive as you want to gain the attention of your students. And then comes the second, that is a short introduction. So before we go any further into adding these details, I would like to show you the course list on Frappe School. Frappe School is our internal learning management system that we use to train our employees and our customers. And this is what the course list on Frappe School looks like. And ultimately, in my new learning system, when I have enough number of courses ready, my list there would look the same. So all the information that I am adding are going to be visible in the course card that you see here, and it would help my students make the right decision before they enroll themselves. Can you guys hear me? Is there a problem with the audio? Okay. So as I was saying, any information that I add to my course becomes relevant in students making the right choice before they enroll themselves into these courses. Let's proceed to the second field, that's a short introduction. A short introduction is just basic, a couple of lines that would help describe the course. And then comes the course description. Course description is a rich text field, which means I can go on in as much detail as I would like about my course. And I don't have to worry about the character limit here because it's a rich text field. And as I said, it's a rich text field, so I can highlight certain portions that I want to be more visible to my users. There's a lot of editing options on top. I can choose the way I want to edit my description here. And once the description is ready, I have to select an image. Image is what would appear on top of the course card. I already have an image ready with me. I'll just be selecting that. As you can see, the image got added. And the next is preview video. Preview video is one that would appear in the course homepage right here. This video is meant to be a giving a glimpse of what the course is about. A very short video that you can create. And it's important for the preview video to be on YouTube. You can keep it on YouTube and keep it as unlisted. Just a minute, why is this? I already have the preview video URL ready with me. I'll just copy that and paste it. And then comes the tags. Tags are the tags that appear on top of the course cards that you see here. They sort of act as keywords to help users when they search for the right course. There's a search bar on top of the course list, and I can search the keywords. For example, if I search for Tailwind, I get to see the course that covers that. If I search for web development, I get to see the course that covers that up. So consider these as search keywords and try to add relevant keywords. As I said, this course is going to be on JavaScript. So the first keyword that comes to my mind is web development. I enter the tag and then I press enter and it forms the keyword. The second that I can think of is it's going to be for beginners. So I add beginner as a tag. I can add as many tags as I want. And next comes the instructor. I can add as many instructors to the course that I want. Right now, I'm the only instructor, so I'm just adding myself here. And then comes the course settings and pricing settings. So right now, I'm not going to publish this course because we haven't added any lesson to it yet, but we will come back to this once we have enough number of lessons. I can also add the date on which I'm going to publish this. Along with, I can add other details like if I don't want users to enroll themselves automatically, I can configure for it to have a completion certificate. All these can be possible through course form right here. And we will also come back to pricing settings after we have enough number of lessons ready in our course. And yeah, I think that now that we have good details added to our course, I will save my course. And I got to see this toast. That means my course has been saved. And then I can move on to add chapters to my course. But before I add chapters, I'd like to go back to the course list. Here I see the live count is still 0, but I can see one course in the created section because I haven't published it yet. It's not appearing in the live section. If I click on this card, I get to see all the details that I had added. All of the information that I added is visible here now. And because I'm the course creator, I also see this edit button, which means I can continue right from here. All right, I think we have the basic structure ready. Let's move to the outline now. I have this basic outline decided with my team, wherein these are the chapters and lessons I wish to add. For this webinar, I'll be trying to cover different types of content in each lesson. So we will see how to add text content, how to add code snippets, how to add videos from YouTube or my local machine, how to add PDFs, slides, quizzes, etc. We'll try to cover them all. Let's start by creating a few chapters. So I create my first chapter as introduction, and then let's create one more chapter. Cool. So I have two chapters ready in my lesson, in my course, and then I can create lessons for each of these. So let's start with the very first lesson. I click on the add lesson button. All right, here we are. So here I get to decide what all what the title of this lesson would be. Let's give the lesson a title. Why learn JavaScript? All right. And then the second option is include in preview. If I enable this, then guest users and students who are not enrolled for this course will also be able to see the content of this lesson. Why does this field exist? So there's this thing wherein a lot of learning management allow you to keep certain a couple of chapters and lessons open so that users check out these lessons and get a glimpse of what this course is going to be about. So this is going to be my first lesson, and I want to keep this lesson available for preview for students who are not even enrolled in my course, so that they get an idea of what this course is going to be about and they enroll for this. Instructor notes, we'll get back to it in a few minutes. And then comes the main part of your lesson, that is the content. On the right hand side, you see help articles about how you can go about adding quiz, YouTube videos, and upload other type of content into your lesson. And you can just read or check out the video that is provided here and get the help you need. Let's start with adding content for the very first lesson. I'm going to be adding text content for this lesson. So I already have the content ready. I just copy and paste it here. And then let's say I want to add list or any other complex type of component into my lesson. So you can see that as I'm hovering on each field, this plus icon appears. Clicking on it opens up a menu that has all the tools that I can use for my lesson. There's another keyboard shortcut for the same, that is I have to just press forward slash and the menu appears. So for this, let's say I'm about to add a list. I select list and then I can add my points into the list. So I'll add a few points, easy to learn. The second would be works in a browser, and the third would be good job opportunities. I've added the content. I can go about adding more to the list, or I can just add other content that I have in mind. So I'll copy the rest of the content that I had. And now that I feel that my lesson is good enough, I save the lesson. And when I save the lesson, the good thing about this editor is that it shows me the content as the way it would appear to my users. So I can just click on the lesson title from the breadcrumb, and this is how the lesson would appear to my users. And this is the way they would be seeing the content. The edit button is only visible to me because I am the instructor of this course. I can continue editing and adding more type of lessons to my course. Let's move on to adding our second lesson. So in the second lesson, I wish to have a code snippet. Let's see how we can do that. So I first have some text content that I'll copy. I'll click on add lessons and I'll give my lesson a title. And because this is my second lesson, I don't wish to keep it available for preview, so I'll keep this as unchecked. Then coming to the content, I paste the content and then I want to add the code snippet. So what I do is I copy the code snippet. And how do I add it? So again, I go to the menu. I see this tool called as code box. I just select this tool and a code bar appears. In this, I can just paste the code and then it automatically detects the language, or else I can choose which language I want this to be in. So what I do is I paste the code and the syntax is not highlighted because the language is not yet detected. Then I click on auto detect. It tries to do some formatting by detecting the language. And if I'm not entirely happy with it, I can just select the language I want. And I've selected JavaScript as the language and I can see it reflect in the formatting. And then I think, yeah, that's all I wanted from this lesson. I save my lesson and I can go back and check if it's appearing properly. Yes, it is appearing properly. And let's go back to add more lessons. I'll add another lesson. This time, let's say I want to add a YouTube video in my lesson. I first copy the content. I create a new lesson. I give the lesson a title. And then I paste the content that I want. And then there's some code snippet that I want in my lesson again, like last time. So I do the same that I did there. And auto detect and then JavaScript. I select the language. And then, as I said, I wish to add a YouTube video. So let's say I want to add it here. So what I do is this is the video that I wish to add. I think I already have it open on YouTube. What I have to do is if I want to add a YouTube video, I just copy the URL that I see of the video right from the top. And then once I have copied the URL, I go back to my lesson and I just paste the URL. That's it. Pasting the URL renders the video and I save. Title. What was this meant to be? Browser console. Okay. Yep. I save. I can go back and verify. My video is visible. I can play the video and it would play for me just the way I wanted it to. And all right. I think we've seen how to add a YouTube video too. What else can we add? Let's see how to add a PDF to a lesson. So let's create a new lesson. Give it a title, variables, and then to add a PDF, just some basic content. And then I go to the menu, and this time because I want to upload a PDF, I select upload as the tool. Selecting the tool opens this up for me. I select the right file that I want and I click on open, and then it gets rendered in my lesson, as you can see here. And this has, I think, 2 pages. I scroll, I see the PDF just the way it should with all the pages. And I think that's it. I save, go back and confirm. Yeah, just the way it appeared in the editor. Coming back again, I've decided that variables was meant to be in another chapter and not in this chapter. So what do I do is I create a new chapter. and then I want to move this lesson to the next lesson, all I have to do is press hard, drag, and drop it here. And my lesson got added to the other chapter. As simple as that. I can move lessons within the same chapter, or I can move it to the other chapter directly, and it automatically saves. And then let's see what other type of content we can add. Let's add a video from our local machine, a video that I have in my system. Let's add that. So I click on add lesson. I give the title as data types. I put some content. This is a practice we follow at Frappe school. Even though a lesson is going to have a video, we still prefer to have some text content for users to get an idea. And then I want to add a video. This is going to be similar to the way we uploaded a PDF. Just select the upload option, select the video that you want. I already have the video ready in my system, and I just click open, and the video got rendered. I can play the video right here to see if everything is fine. And yep, it is. I can even full screen the video right from here and escape it back. And once my video is ready, I save the lesson. I can add, I can even add an image to this lesson. It's going to be very similar. Upload and select the image, open, and my image got rendered too. By the way, once you've saved a lesson, after every 10 seconds, the lesson keeps auto saving. So the first time I save a lesson, I don't have to worry about saving it again because the auto save makes sure that it gets saved. So I think we are done. I can just go through the content and see if everything is as I wanted it to be. And then I go back to my lesson, and you can see my images here, even though I didn't save it because it got auto saved. And yes, now maybe let's move to some other kind of content, like maybe adding slides, a slide. So let's create another chapter and lesson. Mm, yes, so I add a chapter. Mm, it got added twice. Don't know why. Let's add a lesson here. I give it a name, and then yes. So here I want to add my content. Um, so I want to add a slide here. I'll add some basic content. And I want to add a slide here. I already have a slide ready here in my system. I want to share it with people. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is by either publishing it to the web and sharing the web URL, or I'll show you both. So go to the help, search the menu, and I search for publish, and it shows me publish to web. I click on it, and then it shows me this section wherein there is a link. I copy the link, but I don't need the entire link. I only need it up till the pub parameter. I copy the link, go to my lesson, and I paste the link, and the slide gets rendered. And there are three slides here, and I can see those three right from this lesson, and I save it. The other way that I was talking about is if you are creating a course for only a limited set of people and you don't want to publish this to the web, what you have to do is make sure that you share the slide with those people from the share option here, and then you copy the link and paste that. So only the people who are logged into Google in their browser with that email ID would be able to see that slide. But you have to make sure that you share it with them. If you don't, they would be seeing an empty box with a permission error. Otherwise, if you're okay with sharing it on the web, then you can just use the public URL here. I think I go back And yeah, my slide renders. Cool. I think we've seen various kind of content. What is left is, I think, a quiz. So let this be our maybe. Um, I go here. I add a lesson. I name the lesson, and yep. So I have to add a quiz. I select the menu. I select the tool as quiz. It opens up a dialog wherein there is no quiz here because this is a brand new system. But if I already have quizzes created in my system, it shows a list of quizzes. Now that I have no quiz already created, I can create one right here. It redirects me to a new window. Let's create a new quiz. So I give my quiz a title, and then I save it. And then once I save it, all the other information are visible here. Let's start by adding some questions. I already have the questions ready with me. So there are two ways in which you can add question. You can either select an existing question or you can create a new question. Let's create a new question first. I add my question, formatted the way I want. I can add marks to the questions that I want. And then there are two types of questions that you can add. One is choices and the other is user input. Let the first question be choices. The next question we'll see user input. So I add my option 1 and option 2, and then I have to select which one of it is the correct one. I select this, that this is the correct option, and then I submit. And my question got added. Let's add a new question, and this time we will be keeping it of the type user input. By user input, I mean that the user will have to input in the answer, and yes, so we can give possibilities. I mean, possibilities needed here. So I can give up to four possibilities of what would be accepted as the right answer, and even if the user's answer matches any one of the possibility, it would be considered correct, else it would be considered incorrect. So I'll be just entering one possibility here, and that is wild. And I think that's enough. I'll save it. My second question got added to, and you can see that as in when I'm adding questions and marks, the total mark automatically gets updated. Let's add one more question. If I select an existing question now, I get to see the list of questions that I had created before, but those are already added in this quiz. So I'll again create a new question. I paste the question, I give it marks, and then I can add options. So I'll add two options, and I can add explanations to each option. Explanation means that anytime the user submits that particular question and show answers is enabled, they get to see why this option was correct or why this option was incorrect. This is going to be the correct answer. I submitted. And then there are other settings which we'll come to in a while, but I think I've added my questions and I have saved my quiz. So I go back to my lesson editor and I look for my quiz loops in JavaScript. That's my quiz. I save it. I see the placeholder of the quiz and I save. And my quiz is ready. And I think I forgot to add the passing percentage. So let's say I want 80% of it to be correct for the quiz to be considered as complete by the student. I refresh and I get to see that a basic information about the quiz, like the quiz has three questions, and I would need as a student 80% correct answers to pass this quiz. Let us try this out. I click on start and I select the first option and I click on check, and I get to see immediately with this icon that this was the correct answer. I move to the next, and this is the user input type of question. I enter the answer, and if it matches the possibility, it does. I get to see it's correct. For the next one, let me try wrong answer. I check the icon indicates that my answer was wrong. This was meant to be the correct answer, and I get to see the explanation of why this is the correct answer. And when I'm done with all the questions, I submit the quiz and I get to see the marks that I got and the passing the percentage that I got. And then I get to try this quiz again, which means I can now restart the quiz. Coming back to the quiz settings, if you don't want your users to be attempting the quiz again and again, you can set a maximum attempt. If it's set to 0, users would be able to attempt this quiz as many times as they want. If you set it as once, students would be able to only attempt this once. And then I can enable shuffle and I can set a limit, which means shuffle means that the questions would be displayed in random order. By limit, let's say I have a quiz of 100 questions and I want 50 of those to be shown to the students in a shuffled manner, then I can add a limit here. For now, I don't want a limit, so I just enable shuffle and save. And now when I go back to the quiz and wait, I start the quiz again. Let me check what the next would be. For some reason, the shuffle is not. Yes, I think it worked this time. This was my last question that I had added, but now that shuffle is enabled, I get to see it as the first question. So now that I move forward, every question would be not in the same order that it was before. I think that was all about quizzes. Coming back to the course, I think now that we have good enough number of lessons in our course, we can publish the course. So I select on published from the course form. I set a publish date. Today is fine. And then I think, yeah, I save it. And I go back to the course list, and now the course appears in the live section. My image is not visible, so let's update my profile. I can update my profile as an instructor right from here, and I can add basic information about myself. I'll just add some random information about myself, and I can add a profile picture. I select an image, open, yes, and then I save. My profile got saved, and then I can add a cover image as well. So if you have Unsplash account and you have Unsplash API key, you can use that to generate images from Unsplash. Otherwise, you can select one from your local machine. I select cover. I just select a random cover image and it gets updated. So my cover image is also ready. And when I go back to my course, it reflects my profile image now. Let us see how I can make this a paid course. So right now the payment gateway supported by Frappe Learning app is Razorpay. I know that it's very limited, and soon we'll be integrating other payment gateways as well to support more countries. But for now, if you are using Razorpay, you can go to settings, go to the payment gateway tab, and you can set up your Razorpay keys right here, and it would work. The payment gateway would work for you. Now that I already have my Razorpay keys set up, I can go back to the course, edit it, make this as a paid course, add a course price, and then select a currency. And now that the currency is selected, I save the course again. Let us, I'll be opening up a new tab with a new user. Let me just share the URL. I'm logged in as a different user here. And as you can see that the user is able to see the course with the price this time. I click on it and I can see this buy this course button. I click on the button and because I'm not logged in, I'm redirected here. I log in. So, yep, I think my password worked. Let's try again. By this course, yeah, I'm redirected to the billing details. Here I'll add basic information that are needed in any billing form, and I select a country and I add a phone number, and after that I select the source through which I got to know about this training. GST informations are optional, I can skip that. I proceed to payment and I get to see the payment gateway opening up. I select card as the payment mode. I enter card number. I have a test card here with me. I'm just entering that. Yep. OTP. And once I get the confirmation back from the payment gateway, I will get to see success on my billing page. And then, yep, success, payment successful. And then in a few seconds, I would be redirected to the lesson. Now I'm enrolled in this course. I'm a part of this course and I get to see all the lessons. The first lesson was visible by default, but the next lessons also are all visible to me, just the way I had added them as an instructor. And then when I have time, I can go through that in detail. But yep, coming back to the screen where I was logged in as Jannat, I think we've seen enough about courses. I'll be opening up the Q&As at the end of this webinar, but right now let's move to batches. Yeah. So as I had mentioned when I started, that batches are used to group students together in order to track their progress better or to conduct live classes or in-person sessions with them. So to add a batch, I click on the new batch button. I enter a title for the batch. Let's say I'm doing one for Frappe Framework, and this is going to be in October 2024. I can publish the batch. I'll immediately publish it because there's not much to configure here. Allow self-enrollment would mean that students would themselves be able to enroll for this batch. There would be no payment, just an open batch for them. But I intend for this batch to be a paid batch, so I won't enable that. Then upload an image. I'll just select an image. This is just a meta image. Wherever you share the link of the batch, this image will appear there. Then I add myself as an instructor, and more details about the batch, like description and all. So I add those here. Yep, I can. Description can be small, but yep, I think this much is enough. Description can be small, but in batch details, I can get to go in as much detail as I'd like. And then I select a start date of the batch and an end date. And then along with that, the start time. So let's say this starts at 2 p.m. and ends at 5 p.m. And then I can mention the time zone this batch is going to be in. Seat count, the number of seats that I'm students that I'd be accepting in this batch. I want not more than 20 students. And the medium, let's say this is going to be an online batch, and a category, if any, I want to add. The rest are optional, can be skipped. Paid batch, yes. Let's say it's 2,500, and the currency INR. Cool. And I save. And as I save the batch, I get redirected to the payment, to the batch details. I get to see all the details of the batch that I've added here. And then because I'm the moderator, I can click on the manage batch button. Edit will take me back to the form Manage will take me to the place where I can add more details. Now let's say students can pay the way they paid for the course and enroll themselves into this batch. Or I can add students manually if I want to. Say I want to add Ashley manually. I add Ashley and I submit. I get to see the number of courses she's completed, none, and when was she last active. And then let's say I want to add courses that I want to be a part of this batch. Students would have to complete this course in order to complete the batch. I don't see an evaluator right now. I'll tell you why I don't see an evaluator. Let's submit it. Okay. So the reason why I wasn't able to see an evaluator is that I'll have to first set up my profile as an evaluator. I come back to my profile and all of this section is not really visible to a normal user, but because I'm a moderator, I get to see these sections. I click on slots and I can add my slots for when I'm available for evaluation. I can also link my Google Calendar here. But for that, you have to make sure of one thing. I'm going to the app switcher and I'm selecting desk. So if I open the desk, I have to make sure that Google settings is enabled. So if I go to desk and Google settings, yes, for me it's already enabled with the client ID and client secret added. If you are interested in the Google Calendar and evaluation feature, make sure that you set this up first. All right, I'm here. Let me say that I'm available on Thursday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and my slot got added, which means now that I'm officially an evaluator, now that my slots are set up. So I can go back to the batch. See, now my batch is listed because I had published it. I can click on manage batch. This is the course that I had added, right? Maybe let's add the course again. So I add the course again and I can add myself as an evaluator this time. I've added the course as well. I can add assessments. Assessments are in the form of quizzes and assignments. I can select which type of assessment I want to add. Let's say I select a quiz. This is the only quiz that I have in my system. I select that, and the assessment has also been added. And then I can create live classes. I can't show you live class right now because the Zoom account that we use is already in use. If I create a live class, it would actually block that session in Zoom, but it's very simple. You just have to set up your Zoom details and in Zoom settings, and then you can create a live class wherein you enter the title, time, date, duration, description, etc. And when you submit, the live class not only reflects in your learning portal but also blocks that duration and creates a Zoom meeting. And all of the students that are a part of the live class get to know about it. So, yeah, I think that is all about batches too. Now let's go back to Ashley's window. Coming back to Ashley's window, I can see batches and I can see this one upcoming batch, but I'm already enrolled in it. I click on it, and because I'm just a student, the CTA that I see is visit batch. I click on visit batch and I get to see the assessment that I have to complete. Clicking on this assessment takes me to the quiz. I have to complete this quiz. And then I can also schedule evaluations, which means that if I click on schedule evaluation, I select the course for which I have to get myself evaluated for. And then I select a date. Let's say I select Thursday. I see that there's one slot available. I select the slot and then I submit. And as soon as I submit, I see that my evaluation has been scheduled. And yeah, coming back to Jannat's window. Now that someone has scheduled an evaluation and I'm responsible for that evaluation, I go back to my profile page. Here there is a tab called as scheduled. And as you can see, since this is a calendar view reflecting all of the upcoming evaluations that I have to take, Ashley has scheduled an evaluation for 19th of September, 4 p.m. I can see it here. I can click on it to see the details of the student, the course they've taken, and the date and time. Let's say this is going to be an online call. I click on join meeting and I would be able to join the Google Meet right from here. And during the meeting, I realize that she is doing well and I have to pass her. So I can simultaneously come back to this window and give her a feedback. Good is the feedback I give, and then I change her status to, let's say, pass. Right now, evaluation is the only form that I see, but as soon as I save this and Ashley has passed this evaluation, I get to see a certification tab, which means I can now certify her too. Some basic certification details are already present in this form, like the print format that will be used in the certificate is selected. This date that I can change to, and then once I'm okay with the information entered here, I click on save. And as soon as I save, I see this view certificate button. I click on this button, and this is a very basic print format that I had created before this webinar that appears up. Coming to certificates, if you want to have a custom certificate generated, it's done through print formats. All you have to do is go to print format doc type, create a print format of your own, the way I had created. You can also create print formats using the Print Designer app. And once you've created your certificate, just make sure that you set it as default so that each time by default that would be picked up. But even if you don't set it as default and you have multiple certificates, this template allows you to select the right template that you want for the certificate. So you can select the template right from here. And as I said, the course has been created. So yeah, Ashley has been certified. And then when Ashley goes to her profile page, into the certificate section, she gets to see her certificate right from here. And clicking on her takes her back to the PDF that was generated. And each time a certificate is generated, a student gets notified immediately through an email. But yeah, that's the flow so far. So I think I've covered enough about courses and batches. We'll be opening up the Q&A, and we will also have discussions on anything that you want to share about the app. You can share with me. And other than that, I would request you all to try out Frappe Learning app. Um, this I'm not sure how many of you know the story, but we made this app long ago in the beginning of 2020 because we wanted to set a learning system of our own. We are strong believers of open source. We checked out Moodle, but we didn't find it fitting our taste, and so we decided to make a learning system of our own. And this is our attempt to give you a better open source learning system. I know we're not there where Moodle is yet, but that's our attempt. And do try it out on Frappe Cloud. As I said, the site that I used for this demo, I created it in a minute. You can too if you want to set up your learning system. It's very simple. You can start with the basic $5 plan. That's what I recommend to all my customers. Use the $5 plan, and only when you feel the need to, you can migrate to a higher plan. You can migrate in the middle of the month itself. All that is easily allowed by Frappe Cloud. Yep, I think we can start with the Q&A now. Let me just open up Zoom. Just a minute.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jannat. We have a bunch of questions also in the Q&A. There are a few that are answered. I think since you mentioned about Frappe Cloud, there were questions about how frequently do the updates happen? Once you push some feature, will they immediately get it? Will the users get it? Should they go for a $5 plan? How many users can concurrently use on a $5 plan? So can you cover those questions? Something about that first, then we'll proceed to the.
Okay, cool. So, as I said, anytime someone comes up to me asking me they want to set up a learning system after each demo, I recommend them either go with the $5 plan or $10 plan. No need to go above that because it depends. If you have heavy videos that you want to upload, then maybe go for a higher plan. But if you're going to be mostly having text content or you're going to pull in videos from YouTube, you don't need much storage. So I think a $5 plan or $10 plan suffices that way. But if you feel that you have a huge user base and you may need immediate product warranty on issues that you may face, we provide product warranties on $50 plan and above. So depending on that, you can select your plan. Concurrent users, I think enough number of supported users are supported in the $5 and $10 plan. If you have less than 100, I think that would be enough. If you have more than 100, then you can consider opting for a higher plan. What are the
Okay,
questions?
thank you, Jannat. Before we proceed to some more questions, we'll be sending a bunch of questions as polls. We would love to hear your opinions on them so that we can tailor the product and our future webinars accordingly.
Okay, so I think Ashutosh has a question wherein you're asking about how to add how about a search button in the course list. There's already a search button in the course list. I think I demonstrated that before I started creating a course. Salim Mustafa asks, how do we generate an invoice if it's a paid course? I think you will have to write a custom script for that, because what we found out is most of our customers use different invoicing systems and their processes are also different. So we've left that part to our users. You decide which invoicing system you want to use and just write a short script to integrate it with your system. What the use of include preview does, it shows a short video which gives the users a glimpse of what this course is going to be about. And you can skip it, it's optional, but if you want to give the users a very brief idea of the course, you can have the include in preview. Okay, I think you changed your question. Include in preview checkbox in lesson. As I said, if you have that checked, then guest users and users who are not enrolled into the course would also be able to see that lesson. For example, if I keep two of my first lessons as include in preview, then all the users who haven't even enrolled would get to see those lessons, and that would make them decide if this is the right course for them. Are they interested in the course enough to be enrolled in it? So if you want to keep it open to others, you can check the include in preview option. Can we add more than four options? Not right now. In a quiz, I'm assuming that not right now, but yeah, definitely. We've received this feature request from others, so I'll be adding that capability to add more questions soon. Is it possible to use LMS quiz for psychology test like this test? I don't have.
So basically, what it could mean is there is no right or wrong answer. Just at the end of it, people answer, and let's say I've voted option A.
Open-ended question.
Option A. If I've chosen option A multiple times, and I fall in a certain category, or B in something like that.
Okay,
So,
okay. So I think the categories you will have to work on it on your own. But yeah, the show answers that I showed, that can be unchecked. I mean, from the configuration itself, if you don't want to show correct or wrong answer, but you just want to show a summary at the end, you can just uncheck that.
So
That
there is
works.
no right or wrong answer in these quizzes. It can be anything.
Okay.
Those kind of quizzes.
uh, then I think that will have to be worked upon, because as you said, some categories are identified and they're told that they fall into this category. Not right now. I think that will have to be worked upon.
Will some scripting help in this case?
Yes, it should. I mean, you can create a lesson based on which you can have a custom field that stores their category, and in the next lesson, you can show that they belong to this category. Is it possible to can we add a time limit for a quiz? No, but this feature request will be incorporated soon. We will have a timer in quizzes. And can you show us, once the course has been paid with Razor Pay, how does ERP Next Learning generate an invoice? As I said, invoicing, we've left it to our customers because everyone follows a different invoicing process. So for us, for Frappe School, I just had to write a server script to integrate it with my ERP Next. I think that would be simple for you. Just generate a sales invoice, a script to generate a sales invoice, and that would be enough. FYI, for anyone who's using Frappe Cloud, we're in Canada, had a cloud instance hosted for quizzes. It caused latency issues, which allowed to click on check multiple times, and it resulted in having scores higher than 100%. All right, I think it depends on the number of users that were attempting the quiz at once. So, as I said, you better know the number of users that would be using the system concurrently, so decide on the plan accordingly. How secure is the content uploaded? Okay. How secure is the uploaded content? I mean, where did it go? Can someone see the uploaded video or paid content from inspect? No, they won't be able to see it. When you upload a video from your local machine, there's no download or nothing like that. They won't be able to share it with anyone else. And even if they do share, it won't be visible to them. If I assign my students on a batch, can my students relearn my course even if the course batch time expired? Yes, as long as I'm enrolled in that batch, I get lifetime access to those courses. So I can see it even if the batch has expired. I create a course and linked the course to a batch. If I given access to a student for that batch to access the course propagate automatically, yes, that happens automatically if I'm not enrolled for a course but I'm enrolled for a batch. And then as soon as I'm enrolled for that batch, I get access to all the courses in that batch. That happens automatically. Is there any way I can make a batch without time limit so the people I assign can go back and take a look at the course I assigned them? So the time limit is only meant for the live classes or in-person sessions that are there. Access to the course is lifetime. For example, let's say if I am having a batch from 7th October to 14th October, the timeline only indicates that my live classes or in-person sessions would be in that duration. Course access would be for lifetime, so you don't have to worry about that. Can we use Google Meet for live classes? Not right now. I think most people preferred Zoom, so we added Zoom. We can consider Google Meet later, but right now Zoom is what is available. Can we restrict the user as he can only see the courses he's enrolled? Currently the students can see, so they can see all the courses, but they cannot see all the lessons. They'll only be able to see the lessons that they're enrolled in. So I think that you cannot change. I mean, it's just showing the courses that are available, but by default, I would only be able to access the courses I'm enrolled in. What are the permissions set for Ashley versus Jannat user profiles for demo? Is this? Yes, so Jannat had all the important roles. She had moderator, patch evaluator, all important roles. Ashley only had student role. She had no other role because she was just a student. Do we have any integration with Office 365? No, not at the moment. How to import and export lessons with image and content? I can see the content and images are object format import. So what happens with the lesson content is that ultimately a JSON gets formed in the backend. I think if you have huge data and you want to somehow data import that, then maybe create a couple of lessons and check the JSON format that got generated in the backend, and then use that format to create your Excel sheet or CSV, and then you can data import the content. Thank you very much. It was very insightful. Thanks, Mohammed. Let's say I have two courses and want to register a student only for one of them, meaning they can't access the second one. What is the best way to do that? Should we only add student to the batch that has course A? You can do that, or you can, as I said, there was a disable self enrollment button in the course. You can just disable self enrollment for that second course and only manually enroll users that you want for that course. And course A can be publicly available for anyone to enroll themselves into, or else you can do batches too. But I think if you want to avoid batches and just do with courses, then maybe disable self enrollment for the courses you don't want students to manually enroll themselves into. Can we deploy it on a private server? Yes, I think a lot of our self-hosted users have been using LMS on a private server. If we install ERP Next plus Learning together, will we be able to generate invoices for students using? Out of the box, no. As I said, you will have to write a basic script to generate the invoices. But I think it's only one script that's needed, not nothing more than that. How can we enhance language translations for French classes, for example? So recently I've added crowd-in translation support for LMS itself. We have a crowd-in portal link that maybe I can share the link in the chat here. And by default, we support the French language there. You can just add translations there, and once a week, all of the translations get pulled into the LMS repository. So if you add the translations there, every week new translations get pulled into. Provisions to restrict provisions to restrict users to skip or download videos, as the course content is proprietary. As I said, if you upload the system from your local machine, those contents cannot be downloaded. We don't provide any downloading option. Skip option is provided. They can skip the video and proceed further. Honestly, I don't think restricting them to skip the video helps in any way. If they want, they can skip it anyway, but downloading can be avoided unless it's on YouTube. Then they can share it, but if you upload content from your local machine, it cannot be downloaded. Can the user ask question and get the answer from the course coordinator? Yes, there's a discussion section in both courses as well as batches. Below each lesson and in each batch, students can ask questions, and then fellow students who are enrolled in that course or batch, along with course moderators and instructors, can answer those questions. So those discussion sections are there in both courses and batches. Can we make statistics private by default? You cannot make it private, but if you don't want to show it to users, just in the settings itself, you can configure the sidebar, remove it from the sidebar. That way, the users won't be able to access that page. We're having an issue where the progress bar is not evolving as we click the next lesson. What exactly triggers the progress bar? So by default, if a user, we've had this 30-second limit, wherein if a student has spent 30 seconds on a lesson, we mark it as complete. So 30 seconds is good enough duration to identify if a student has gone through the content of a course or not. So 30 seconds, if a student sticks for that, then that lesson gets marked as complete. Could we have the function if a student cannot complete the first lesson, they cannot go to the next lesson? According to me, it doesn't help. I mean, there are other ways. I mean, I have seen this practically wherein students just put the video on. We don't put a hard check on the completion, because we've seen that students put video on, then roam around, do other stuff, and then they come back. They haven't even watched the video, but it gets marked as complete. You cannot, no matter the number of checks you put, you cannot force a student to go through the content. So I think, yeah, that's not possible right now. How can we change error messages? Let's say somebody wants to enroll but they don't have access, it says contact administrator. Right now that's the default message, because ultimately they do contact the administrator. In this case, you may be the administrator. By that we means that contact the system admin. So right now that is the message. What other message do you want to see? I'm interested to know, so maybe I can think of it. Can we upload MS Word file also in the lesson content? MS Word file you cannot, but if you have a Google Docs, you can upload it the same way I did for PPT. So make sure you have a Google Doc if you want your content in Google Doc, and then put it into your lesson. How to integrate front end and back end in single port in LMS app? I'm not sure how this affects your production environment. I mean, even in local development, I use the single port. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Maybe you can elaborate. um, we had a lot of confusion with permission. We thought we had to play with permission manager, but it seems the most of the access management can be done by attributing a student to the right resource and keep LMS student role only. Is the permission manager usually for specific use cases? See, you are right. LMS student role should suffice, and if in any case you feel that student should have access to this document and does not, then you can let me know. I'll integrate that in the core app itself. But from what I've observed, all the default workflow works by default perfectly fine if a student has LMS student role. So no need to change anything in permissions. Is there any course to learn us how to use ERP Next quality module? I think Frappe School has a course on uh, I think Frappe School has a course, but I think you should just verify. But I think there's a course on Frappe School how to integrate front end and back end custom app with Frappe UI in a single port. Uh, so again, with Frappe UI also, the port that default starts when I do yarn dev for Frappe UI development is 8080, and I do both front end and back end development with that port. And you should just try it out. Open the back end and front end on the same port, that is 8080. It works for me. It should work for you too. Is there any more question? PayPal integration, I'll try my best to do it before Frappeverse, not committing anything, but it is on my list. Let me just check the polls that came out.
There is one question.
Okay, let me check. What is the usual process to register a new student and send them a confirmation email? Sign up is the usual process. You allow them, just open up the sign up link from website settings, and anytime a user sign ups, they get an email. From that email, they can set their password. But if you don't want your system to be open to all, then manually add them through settings. The settings dialog that I showed for payment gateway, that same dialog allows you to add members from there itself. Is the learning logo changeable to our company logo? Yes. From website settings, you can just set the brand image and the banner image. And if those two are set, it gets picked up in the front end and replaces the Frappe Learning logo. So you can change that. We've used the same method for Frappe School. So you can use that too. Just going through the polls. Okay, a lot of news people in the Frappe ecosystem. Welcome to the Frappe ecosystem. You'll get to Frappe Learning is just one part of the ecosystem. There are tons of apps that we have, and hope you have a good journey in this ecosystem. Do you or your customers use Frappe Learning? Okay, yes. Okay. Who all have marked for others? Maybe in the chat you can let me know which other learning system do you use. A lot of people have voted for PayPal, so I'll be integrating PayPal for sure. I'll try to add it as soon as I can. And through my LinkedIn posts or my monthly update blogs, you get to know all that I add within the app in this month. So whenever I add PayPal, I'll make sure to announce it on LinkedIn and also on the blog, so you all get to know about it. A lot of people are not hosting on Frappe Cloud. I would like to know the reasons. I think we can open up the. Okay, I think. Are you guys able to unmute and talk? So maybe you can let me know anything, your opinion about the app, or why do you guys not use Frappe Cloud? Mhm.
The chat is open.
Okay. Uh, I think I forgot to mention this, but the old name of the app was Frappe LMS. We recently renamed it to Frappe Learning a couple of months ago. So that's going to be the new name from now on, Frappe Learning, but the old name was Frappe LMS. There are some more questions. I'll just check. What is the best way to configure our home landing website page? Is it by using HTML or web page builder? Any would do. HTML works, web page builder works, even Frappe Builder app works. So previously, the home page for Frappe School that we had was the web page builder. And I think just in July, we migrated to Frappe Builder. So now the current homepage is through Frappe Builder. All of these are amazing apps, and I just recommend you try it out. Any idea to add Stripe payment? I can do it sequentially. If a lot of people are also on Stripe, I can add Stripe too, but I think I'd go for PayPal first and then for Stripe.
So we would really want to know how we could probably improve Frappe Cloud if this is not your first um, option to host. I mean, if there is something that you've tried it before and you have chosen not to use it, then that feedback would definitely help us. So if you can unmute and talk, please let us know. Else you can put it in the chat. The chat is open now for everyone.
Yeah, your feedback matters a lot, and your feedback is what helps us improve our platforms. So, uh, I'm new to Frappe. What would be suitable for me as a beginner? Are you talking about a hosting platform? Then I would certainly recommend Frappe Cloud. I mean, if you've ever self-hosted an app, you know how much effort it takes, and you need a DevOps person. You need to maintain your server. All of that headaches goes away. Frappe Cloud, you don't need a DevOps person. You don't need to look after your server. We provide product warranty on Frappe Cloud itself. So if any issues you face with your hosting, you can just reach out to Frappe Cloud support team. And plus, deployments are very easy. Each time a new update is made to the app, you get to see an update button. You click on the button and the site gets updated and migrated on its own. If you know any of DevOps, you know you have to remember so many commands, you have to look after so many things, you have to take care of the port and everything. All that goes away with Frappe Cloud. Just a simple, beautiful UI shows you your apps, shows you your sites, and then you just deploy with a button click, and everything works. I think we are here for 10 more minutes. If anyone of you still wants to open up and share your views, you can. We'll be ending this call at 4:30.
And in case you haven't voted yet, please vote on the poll. You should be able to see a poll on your screen.
Mohammad Ali uses Frappe Cloud, it seems. So thanks for vouching for us, Mohammad. Also, now that we have time and no one is speaking up, we have our annual conference coming up in October. October 3rd and 4th is where we have Frappe Verse. I think Michelle can share the link here, and the registrations are open for all. It's happening at Worli Nehru Center Auditorium on 3rd and 4th October. 2 days of event where you get to see interesting talks from our entire team as well as from the community, all the amazing implementations done by our community, along with getting to network with the entire partner ecosystem, anyone who's ever been involved in Frappe in any format. You get to meet our entire team, you get to meet whoever you've been communicating with on GitHub all this time, you get to meet them in person. I would like to meet you all in person, so I think a great opportunity for you all to visit us.
One more question.
Okay, let me check. Would there be a way to configure the progress bar to check if we click a button as marked as complete? I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure when you started using the app, but in the very early version, we used to have this button. And then, after a lot of discussions internally within the team, we decided that this was just an additional step for the user. And we were not sure how many of the users were even actually clicking the button. We're not sure if this solves the problem, but I think, yeah, we can open this up for discussion, and let's see. Um, if no one is speaking up, then maybe we'll end the call in a minute or two. Any questions still? Yeah, thanks for attending the webinar, all of you. I mean, It's good to see that you guys are also interested in the new products that we're making. Really good to see that. For a given lesson with a quiz, will it be marked as complete if we wait 30 seconds but don't complete the quiz? No. For quiz, it's different. For quiz, if there is a passing percentage set, the user will have to complete that percentage. No matter the amount of time you wait, if you don't get that passing percentage, your lesson would not be marked as complete. So for quiz, you have to make sure that the student completes the quiz. Where can we access the recording? We'll share it, we'll be uploading it on YouTube, and we'll also announce it in our LinkedIn, so you'll get to access the recording from there. And yeah, thanks again, once again, all of you. Thank you to Michelle for hosting this webinar, and thank you all for attending and contributing with all the interesting questions that you had. Can we restrict the user as he can only see the courses he is enrolled? Currently, the student can see all the courses. I think I answered this before. No, you cannot restrict them. I mean, they'll get to see the course card of all the courses, but ultimately they get to see the content of only the course they're enrolled into. They don't get to see all the content. So I'm not sure. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem for you, is what I feel. Thank you, Salim, for your compliment. Thank you. Salim has been an active contributor in our community since long. Thank you for all the contributions that you've been doing.
Thank you, Salim. Thanks, everyone. I think that's all. All the questions have been answered. There is a poll running. If you could please vote. If you haven't, it will be great because your feedback helps us improve. I've also sent a link of Frappeverse, which, as Jannat mentioned, is on 3rd and 4th of October. The entry is completely free. You just have to pay for meals. So please register if you haven't yet. Along with Frappe Learning, there are a bunch of other talks of new products and ERP Next and other products, and also community stories. You'll also get to interact with the community as too in the conference. So it's a chance that you shouldn't be missing. Along with this, we'll be hosting, like I mentioned in the start, some more webinars for our other products. I've sent the link of Frappe Learning Telegram group in the chat. You can join that as well, and we'll be posting updates on Frappe Learning and other products there. So if there are no questions, I think we can wrap up. Thank you once again, Jannat, for the webinar, and thank you all for joining. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.